Hey guys, Justin here, and today oh wait, there's something on my camera. There, I think that got it. Today, I wanted to talk about NASCAR 25, the new NASCAR console game that's supposed to come out sometime before the end of the season. This game, if you don't know and have been living under a rock for the past half year or so, is being made by none other than iRacing. And because iRacing's been doing NASCAR for a long time, there is bound to be some features or some things in the game that doesn't really exist in any other NASCAR console game, or if it has, it's been a while. So today I want to talk about the 10 features that you can find in iRacing that I really want to see come over to the console game, starting with the least likely or least consequential features and making their way to what I think are really make or break features to make NASCAR 25 the best NASCAR console game in a long time. Starting with number 10 is something that I really want to see, but I can understand completely if it doesn't end up in the game, and that is legacy NASCAR tracks. In iRacing, there are a lot of tracks that have been added as far back as 2008 that are just out of date and they've been updated over time. But what iRacing does is they usually keep the old track around in the form of a legacy track, especially if there is a reconfiguration of some sort. These old tracks are really cool because it's just a different experience than the new track usually, and then at the same time, it's almost like a little time capsule in how the track used to be. Now, this would be really cool for NASCAR 25, but think about the dev time that this might add to the game. So I understand completely if NASCAR 25 doesn't include Auto Club, Kentucky, Chicagoland, tracks like that. But it would be a really cool cherry on top if they somehow found a way to port the iRacing tracks into the game, which I want to make clear I am not expecting, but if it happens, I will be like, wow, that was really cool. But that's why it's number 10, because it's probably not going to happen. Number 9 is something that just recently got added to iRacing, and the undertaking was so large I can't imagine they're even trying to put it in NASCAR 25, and that is rain and weather. Now you might be thinking, rain and weather, that really doesn't mean too much in terms of NASCAR. Well, we have the road courses, of course, and being able to drive in rain on those would be pretty cool. But what I'm more interested in is the damp conditions at short tracks that NASCAR started to run at. I think being able to drive Martinsville in those damp conditions on the wet tires would be an experience that we don't even have in iRacing yet. I don't think that they could do that in NASCAR 25 given the deadline that they have, but again, it would be a really great surprise if NASCAR 25 had short track rain tires, damp conditions included, even if it was a little bit unrealistic, which it probably would be. Like, how do we even know how to simulate that at this point? But if that was included, that would just add to the experience, especially at the short tracks. On top of that, rain racing in road is just chaos. Oh, I can't imagine how the AI would deal with that in the console game. That would make for some really funny YouTube videos. Number 8 is something that I think the game will probably have, and it's pretty cool, not the biggest deal in the world though, and that is a fuel calculator. These things are lifesavers if you are running a long race by yourself. So for anybody trying to run 50% or 100% career mode, having a fuel calculator tell you how many laps to pit will help you strategize ahead of time with how long should you go before pitting, should you be saving fuel, if you're saving fuel, how long are you projected to get there. A lot of times games will just show you gallons, and that's cool. You can kind of do the math in your head, but that's just another huge thing to think about. With the fuel calculator that iRacing has, even though if it's not always 100% effective and right, what you can guesstimate is how many laps can you make it at your current fuel saving method. But having an estimated laps remaining for fuel is really cool to have, especially if you don't have a spotter, which you probably won't have a live spotter or crew chief really ever in a console game. Number 7 is something that I expect, I think, to be in the game, but at the same time, no other console game has really done it, at least for a long time. And that is real-time live pit stops. Usually in console games, you just get onto pit road. Maybe you have to worry about how fast you go into pit road, but that's it. The computer takes the controls from you. The pit stops are an animation and you're just along for the ride. What iRacing has as part of their sim that I think is really cool and adds to the experience is live pit stops, being able to get into your box, and if you are too far to the left, they aren't able to service you. If you're too far forward and you're over the line, they can't service you. You might be able to get penalties, all that stuff. And even if you are able to see the animations, if you have your graphics high enough, you can see that they have these animations for pit crews already done. So I think that's something that should end up in the game. I would be slightly disappointed if there was at least no option to do manual live pit stops, but I can also understand for people who are just getting into NASCAR console gaming why having pit road be kind of an automatic thing would be beneficial, but I would at least like the option for live pit stops. In a similar vein, for number 6, I want to see the full Geico restart zone, or whatever they call it now. What do they call it now? I must not be paying attention very well, but I still call it the Geico restart zone. I'm sorry. I want to see all of that put into play, at least an option to, in the console game. It's very interesting to see it play out in iRacing. You can actually get some people getting penalties for going too early, and sometimes there's some weird stuff with it, so you get penalized when you're not supposed to, but for the most part it works. Having this same thing in the NASCAR console game will add to the immersion and the realism a little bit. Okay, I'm restarting in the game just like they restart in real life. I think that adds to it. Even if you're a beginner, even if you're just starting out in the console games, that's something that you can see and feel that makes you feel like, okay, this is really like the real life races, and it's just a small thing. I think they have the technology to be able to do that, so hopefully they add the restart zone system and all the penalties that may come along with it into play. Again, like most other things with the simulation style, physics, and rules and all of that, there should be an option to just make it all automatic because you want to be as accessible and easy as possible. But just having the option to make it realistic, just the small things like that, I think will go a long way for the overall experience for a lot of players. At number 5, I want to see ranked online gameplay of some sort in the NASCAR console game. I think that this would be beneficial for the game overall. One of the big misses that I've seen for a lot of online NASCAR games of the past decade is that it's just kind of casual lobbies, join a race, join a lobby. And I think that having that competitive aspect in it in the current gaming environment will set it up a lot better. Now you could say, well, why would you be on a competitive NASCAR 25 ladder when you could just get iRacing? Well, I think there are a lot of people out there that want to pay for NASCAR 25 and be competitive that can't afford to do the same thing in iRacing. So I think that there is a market and there is a demand for a legit ranked ladder option in a NASCAR console game. And it doesn't just have to be a feeder into iRacing. I think it could be a complete standalone thing. And besides, if you're going to do the esports thing in NASCAR 25, which I assume they will, that just helps more support that, have a goal to reach, sort of like the Coke series is for iRacing. I don't think it needs to be as comprehensive as iRating, safety rating. It doesn't have to be as competitive as that, but some sort of ranked ladder system that will keep the online community of the game more engaged than just joining random lobbies and kind of being the king of random lobbies and all of that stuff. Number 4, the replay and screenshot tool. I really do think iRacing has one of the most customizable and comprehensive replay and screenshot UIs, tools, whatever you want to call it, of any racing game. It's fairly easy to pick up, and I want to see most of that carried over to NASCAR 25 because being able to represent your own races, screenshot easily, all that stuff, that is overall good for the game. If you can make really cool screenshots easily, if you can take really cool replays easily, upload them to YouTube, that's what leads to a healthier community of the game. Just having all the options of the different camera angles, being able to customize your own camera angles, being able to do everything within the replay UI and taking screenshots easily, that's the dream for the NASCAR console game. And maybe I'm alone on that because it kind of disproportionately affects me, but I think most people would enjoy that as well. Number 3 is SMT. I think that this is really important for the console game, even if it's a fairly advanced thing, just because of how prevalent telemetry and SMT is in real life NASCAR nowadays. We have all of the technology and everything needed for that in iRacing currently. We do use some third-party programs to help the visual representation of it, but iRacing can give you telemetry. That's one of their big things. With the NASCAR 25 game, I would like to see a telemetry UI similar to VRS or Garage 61 embedded in the game. Maybe after a race, you can go over your telemetry and compare it to the AI in the race. I don't see why not. Maybe that's not exactly how the AI work. And at the same time, it adds a level of realism. Like, man, I'm really in this game. I am reading my throttle and brake inputs, and they look really weird because I'm on controller, but that's okay. I'm doing my best, and I'm comparing it to these other people. I think that adds to a level of immersion that you can have just even outside of the actual driver's seat. And at number 2 is leagues. I think leagues are super important. It was essentially what was keeping the older console games alive. And let me know if you were a NASCAR Heat player, because I really wasn't. Was the leagues going on there all privately run, like through Discords and stuff, and then just done on random hosted sessions? Or were there actual leagues that you could set up within the game with a separate UI and all that stuff? Because I'm not sure. I thought it was kind of more the hosted thing. But regardless, NASCAR 25 should have leagues, because that is how you build a community. It's just outside of the ranked ladder and all that stuff, there is a whole separate pool of people that don't care about that stuff. They don't care about becoming esports or whatever, or maybe they do, and that's what league they create to race against only each other. It creates this sort of camaraderie between the community that you can't have with just open lobbies running the whole time. It's happened ever since the 90s and NASCAR 2003, all that stuff. They've all had leagues, and I expect there to be some sort of leagues in the NASCAR 25 game regardless, but I want leagues to actually be embedded into the game to make it easier for people to find open leagues, and I think that would really do good for the health of the game overall. And now for the number 1 feature that I think should be in NASCAR 25, it is dynamic track. You'll probably note, if you've been paying attention, that I haven't really talked about the driving of the game at all, because I don't really care how the physics end up. They could go more simmy, they can go more arcadey, and I think that it's not a huge difference if they have a vision and they're following it. What I do think would be really cool, regardless of how they go for the physics, is having that dynamic track in the game where you could drive one lane for a while and kind of wear it out. Maybe it heats up too much. Maybe another lane becomes cooler and able to drive the car there faster. So you move the lane and then you go faster maybe in the high lane. And at the same time, maybe there is a lane that starts out dirty at the beginning of the run and you can't start out there, but after a few cars run through it, it becomes the fast lane. That type of dynamic track racing, regardless of what your physics are, makes the racing more fun. It makes it more multi-groove. It's more fun to search around for lanes than just try to nail the same lane over and over again. It doesn't matter how fun the track is. Searching for speed is usually more fun. And I think that even at a basic level for an arcade racer, you can have that and still have that be a fun experience. But in my opinion, it is something that they should prioritize regardless of how they're approaching running the game. But anyways, that's my top 10 features for NASCAR 25 that they should take from iRacing. If you have any others that you can think of, let me know in the comments below, and I probably will agree with you because there's a lot of iRacing that should end up in NASCAR 25. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.